Here we are at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, and this, I think, might have been the best race I've ever had on this sim. And it ended in the most classic sim racing fashion, but great battles, great misses. I want to take us through some of it together. It's pretty killer. So here we are on the outlap. I'm going to skip most of this first lap because while the entire race is intense, not as much happens here, and I think we can skip to the second lap. But first, check out this turn 1 incident. So here we've already got some mayhem. I think we might have had a little tap there somewhere. Let's see what happened there. I haven't checked that out yet. All right, turn 1 mayhem. Let's find the car and move up the grid a bit. See if we can't figure out who's causal here. All right, so let's go to this guy and let's do the good old rear chase and see if we can figure out what happened. Okay. Maybe we should just see this guy's cockpit. Okay, well, it looks like our friend. Who do we get? Yeah, looks like old Ruben decided to just have a little park here. I wonder if he meant to do that. That's strange. I think he might have been having connection issues because you can see that he was like ghosting out. So okay, all right, all good. We will get back to myself here. So we make it through this pretty clean. One kind of nice thing here was it did jam up some of the traffic and get some of the positions out of the way, so I felt like, okay, here we go, let's get into it, let's keep it safe, but let's catch up with the pack, size everybody up, figure out who we're going to follow, and really just try to get through this whole initial river section and get over the bridge. So here we are going into the last exit corner of the river section. Looks like that guy doesn't want to be part of this. We're going to hammer our way out over the bridge. Now, this guy ahead of me here was reasonably quick, but you'll notice here, pretty much this is going to sum him up. He's going to break into this corner, and I'm sure he's compensating some for the traffic ahead of him, but as we got further down the race, even whenever the cars weren't that close, he's quite cautious, and his apex speeds are just quite a bit slower than mine, so I ended up following him for this whole lap. I probably should have just made a move and gotten past him. I think it might have boded better for me later on in the race. But anyway, we didn't do that. Hammering down here through Foxhole. You see I'm just lifting nice and early there, giving these guys room. One really interesting thing about racing in general is that when you've got all this traffic in front of you, everybody's going to kind of stack up in the corners. So you don't need to be late on the brakes ever. You don't even need to be normal on the brakes. You'll hear from the exhaust note how early I get off the power here. Just way early, just kind of coasting it through. Because there's no reason to, unless I'm going to try to make a move, there's no reason to be maxing the car out here on this lap at this point. And I'm not going to make a move through this cold mountain section here. It's just too dangerous. These corners are kind of one car wide most of the time, although we're going to challenge that a little bit later on. All right, so I think I'll get us through this next section here, through this nasty little hairpin, and then we'll go ahead and move ahead. So as you notice, I'm just really trying to take the wider line, prioritize the exit so that I'm always with the pack when we get out of the corner. And that's kind of the move at this phase. But as I said, I think I should have made a move stick. My thought was have a safe race, preservation over attack, and take advantage of the long straight at the end to try to get some moves done there. And I thought I'd be able to use the toe and get some moves done more easily through Lauda links right there, as well as this section here as well. I forget the name of this one, but anyway. Just didn't seem like the toe was good enough to really build up the momentum to confidently get a move done through the canyon section here. Not that I couldn't have made something, tried to make something stick, but as you can see, I just don't have enough pace going into this, and I didn't want us to get jammed up in this corner where it's very hard to go too wide. Similarly, in this next right-hand kink, I would rather just, and I actually thought about making, you can see I had a look, but this guy goes off, and I just absolutely did not want him to turn right and take us both out, so I was trying to be overly cautious there. Yeah, just really hooking up with this guy, really sticking with him. Easy on the throttle out the carousel, keep it balanced. Okay, let's take it ahead. As you can see, we are just hanging in there. Now, I don't remember if it's in this lap or at the beginning of the next. I think it's at the beginning of the next. But the guy behind me is pretty quick and making up good time. Yeah, you can see him in my rearview mirror here. And so yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in from here. This lap is pretty awesome. So had I not slightly rubbed some paint off there by the pit exit, I could have gotten the move done there, and that was really unfortunate. But I think I was a little distracted by the guy in my mirrors just because I hadn't known he was really back there, and then all of a sudden he was just very back there, as you can see. Hopefully you can see my mirrors okay. If not, you'll have to take my word for it. But I think right now he's around half a second behind me, and I'm clearly just riding this guy's ass. But he keeps doing stuff like that, which really was just allowing traffic to catch, right? So he basically parked on that apex. But look at this guy. He's already trying to get a look going into this almost flat out corner here. Just wild, but I'm not backing out. He does, and I just give it a little lift and just try to stick with this guy. My thought is I'm going to hold my line and I'm going to push hard. And we'll see what this guy does. And what we find out over this lap is this guy has some balls and some trust. And together we have some great racing. So I think the cockpit view is going to be an unfair example of this. So let's do a little rear chase for a minute so you can just see how fucking crazy close we are all riding here. I mean, 100 miles an hour down through Foxhole, just riding him. Look at him trying to go on the outside through Foxhole. He wants to get this inside kink. And we go too wide through here. All the way through here. I mean, come on. When do you see that in sim racing at this level? I just want that section one more time. We'll get a new camera so we can see what this guy's got going on. Let's do it from his view, actually. Or maybe from let's do it from the bar on him. Yeah, okay, this will be good. So he tucks it in. I give the guy in front of me a little space because I don't know where he's going to brake, and so he tries to take advantage of that. But look at us here. We're too wide. Just giving each other space. And I don't back out. I stay in it, and I keep my position. And I get the exit. I get the better exit. And so I hold it. We stay too wide. And he's got to give it to me here. Now, of course, you can see the pressure finally get to that much slower guy ahead of us. And look at this move. He takes the inside into here. And I'm still there. We are still too wide. Now I go ahead and back out there. Let's check this out. Alright, from here, let's go to the chase. Yeah, here we go. So he gives it to me on this corner. And in turn, when we get out of this next one, He dives the inside here. And I could have closed that off, but I just didn't expect the move, honestly. And that, once again, I'm having a lot of fun racing him here. I'm okay with not holding the position the whole time. So here he goes. He's got the Sendy sticker there on his bumper, and I would say that's pretty accurate. So I'm just, as we come in here into the hairpin, let's see, no, we're past that actually, aren't we? Yeah, so as we go here towards Lotto Links, I just try to really prioritize my exit. And I get a pretty good one, but I think I'm a gear up. I'm in third there, and I probably should have been in second if I really wanted to stay right on him. So gave him a few meters, and then this next corner coming up, exit is everything, so I really just try to focus on that so I can stick with him. Let's go back to my cockpit. And now what we're about to have here is a couple of laps of just absolutely stellar racing. It is just spectacular. I mean, for the most part, we stay like this. You'll see we build up a second here and there. But we are both just absolutely in it, and this is just fantastic. One thing to mention too is him and I are both 0x right now, so we haven't had any registered incidents at all, meaning it's been a squeaky clean race for both of us. Nice easy throttle application getting out of the carousel. Whoops, a little too much. I think this might be the one where I go a little too Sendy's coming out of this corner and have to see. Oh yeah, I was just thrilled with that save. You know, I was on a knife edge there. I feel like I should have this up for a bit so you can see just the pedal dancing that I feel like goes on in this section if you don't drive it much. This three trees section is just throttle, brake, trail brake, throttle, smooth on, good throttle, good trail off to the apex, easing onto the gas, riding it out to the curb. I love this corner here because you can get people a lot because they forget about the curb. This guy did not forget about the curb. But a lot of people forget about the curb, and then you can carry a lot more speed out of there, but this guy's on it. And if you notice, I'm not without company either. I absolutely love the Nordschleife. I think it's the best. It really is. I know it's famous, but once you learn it and get comfortable with it, there's just not really anything quite like it. Just so much circuit to memorize, so much nuance about where you need to be flat, where you need to lift, and where it's important to prioritize exit and where you can block. And really it's a big challenge to learn it, and it feels almost insurmountable, I think, when you first get started. And it's very gratifying once you feel like you have a really good handle on it. And this so far was a squeaky clean lap between him and I. It looks like he's about probably a second and a half up on me right now, and the guy behind me is not a second and a half. He is probably 0.3. So yeah, we're just gonna fully send it in here into these corners, hook that curb and get the rotation. I'll keep the pedals up for a bit, so just so we can see that. Actually, you know what? That might be hit by my camera, so that's a shame. I'll have to think about that next time. One thing I found is when you're really just dancing on the edge of the grip like this and just feeling the balance of the car and riding it all the way out and everything, especially on a circuit that's as punishing as this one, I've gotten used to my haptic feedback, having the base shakers in the seat and on the pedals, but mainly in the seat. And I've noticed that without those, it's so much harder for me to just absolutely just ride the edge of the grip, because you don't have, you don't have the same feeling in your inner ear like you do in real life with the G-forces, and you can't feel the grip of the tire and the weight of the car rotating under you. So you don't have that innate understanding of where grip's at. But I found that haptics, you can sort of get your brain to the same place to where you can really understand it. It allows me to kind of not depend on having all the force feedback from the wheel to give me all the information I need, but I can kind of feel the grip with the haptics and then feel what the front axle's doing with the force feedback. But yeah, we are just, as you can see, this is just about as flat out as it gets for the Nordschleife. I don't quite nail this corner that time. I'm usually really good through there, but admittedly I sent it a little bit deep, but somehow I managed to get, it felt like a pretty solid exit either way. And we still seem to be holding like maybe 2 seconds flat behind this guy. So at this point I am starting to fantasize a little bit about a perfect run. You know, I'm not thinking about a P1, but if we look here, let me see who. Yeah, so right now I'm in 4th position, right? So we started back in 20th. We started back in 20th, and because of the pile-up and plenty of wrecks and incidents ahead of us, even though we've only, I think, gotten 1 overtake done, we're sitting pretty in 4th. So I'm starting to kind of think about the fact that this could be a perfectly clean Nordschleife race, which at my level I feel like is plenty to be happy about, but also maybe even a podium. If I'm not really expecting this guy to give me the podium. He's clearly on it, but anything can happen. And I've noticed how we've been cruising on this black car the whole time, so you guys can't see the relative timings, but as we've been racing here, I've been watching it, and the black car ahead of us in P2 is not as quick as we are. And I say we, pretty collectively here. I mean, P3, myself in P4, and this guy behind me, and even the guy behind him. We're just freaking cruising. Back into the canyon section again. Really going to try to maximize it here. Just a little lift, a little dab on the brakes, and just try to get those tires to hook back up and keep going. Here we're just going to gently lift. You'll hear the throttle come off, and then right back into it to settle the car. Hard on the brakes. Trail off to try to get back around, and then just ride this outside line all the way up to carousel. Get up to 3rd gear. Dump it hard here, drop to 2nd, and hook this inside. Try not to get spat out, and then just ease onto the throttle out of there, because it'll really upset the car easily. Feels good when you get it right, though. And as you can see, he's caught P2, and see, what I know now is I'm as fast as he is, essentially. I'm riding a second or 2 behind him all the way around Nord. So if he's caught this guy, it means I'm faster than him too. It means P4, P5 is faster, P6 is probably faster. So we all need to get around him somehow. So my objective right now is to just keep it safe, but stay in it. And because he's going to hold him up unless he gets around. So kind of the nightmare scenario here, not really, but the bad outcome would be if the guy in front of me here, I think his name was Jackson, if Jackson gets around P2 and then I'm stuck behind P2 is what I don't want. So I want to be in a position where if he makes a move, I can make the same move with him. So I really need to get up here, and we've accomplished that now. So here's where it gets a little weird, like sections like this where in this position, I know that guy's slower than us, so the guy in front of me, I trust him to carry a lot of speed, so I would ride it and hit the, brake and lift where I need to and stay flat where I should. But the guy in front of him, that black car, is slower, so I don't know where he might be over braking or lifting too much. And so I am trying to give them some space and get off of it a little earlier than I usually would, just so we don't get all caught up in something. I would hate to shunt the guy in front of me who's been such a good racing buddy so far. And also, of course, ruin my own chances. So my thoughts were here, we would easily all get around it, right? We just hammered that. He doesn't have a toe. We have toes. I figured he'd already be breaking out. And actually, I want to look at this a little bit here. Let's step up to Jack. Okay. So yeah, okay. So this makes a lot more sense. So Jackson is literally just bump drafting in here. Just pushing him. Okay, I couldn't figure it out because it just didn't make sense to me why we wouldn't already be around at this point. But you'll see that once he does make his move, I just follow suit. I want to get around when Jackson gets around, and I figured we'd have it, but because he bump drafted for so long, he threw it away. And so now I've got to be really careful diving in here. And it looks like things are going to get messy, and so, but it doesn't. He keeps it together somehow. And then here's, so here we go. That was a little 0x. Now it looks like we're going to go potentially 3 wide into turn 2. And now I'm not backing out. I'm not getting stuck behind that guy. So here's where tragedy strikes, unfortunately. This race going perfectly, it's down to the dream team, but it looks like this guy just wasn't ready for the pressures of P4, because I start, I'm laying it into him. I figure he's got this. Oh, never mind. Actually, it was, yeah, so I think I fucked up there a little bit too, because this was kind of what I wanted to see was, did I get enough notice there to possibly survive this or not? And it looks like maybe I did. So let's just have another look. I guess we'll go full speed and then kind of dissect it. So he comes across that curb, and I'm guessing maybe he hooked the inside curb. Let's see. Yeah, so he unsettles the car. And I foolishly, right here, I assume he's going to hold the brakes, and he just hit the wall. And so I'm going to try to, keep my pace and take this inside. But that's dumb. I should have been fully lifted and easing onto the brakes just to get out of this alive. And I was just feeling a bit too competitive here, I think. And so, but yeah, I did think he was going to hold the brakes here. And I figured we'd get by okay. But that's not holding the brakes. That's driving onto the track, I believe, and we're gonna validate this real quick because of brake lights. Brake lights tell all. You see the guy in front of me? His brake lights are telling me he's taking the tap. He gets the line. He gets away. We don't. Let's see what Jackson did here. All right, he's on the brakes. He's off the brakes. Okay, so he gets back on him, but not before driving onto the track. I don't think he meant to do it. Clearly, he's a super aggressive driver based off of what we'd seen so far. What, of course, sucks is... Okay, yeah, his car is pretty fucked, it looks like. But what sucked for me was this contact, of course, totaled me out. So I had to tow and go ahead and forfeit the session. But yeah, either way, this was just, we'll see what happened to him here. I think he just was just really on it, and I think he hooks this left inside curb and gets on the, nope, he got unsettled before that. I don't know if he could have kept it off the track there or not, to be honest. I think maybe, but either way. Still, it was a hell of a run. A lot of fun. And you can see that that was my first jump from 0x to 4x there, unfortunately. But yeah, that was fun. And you know, this is kind of the funny thing, the lesson is that, kind of analyzing this a bit, if I'd have been paying a lot of attention, as soon as I seen that tire smoke, yeah, I could have stopped. I got space. If I'd have stopped, then sure, but the guys behind me would have had to stop. And you know, I got smacked in the back, but let's see here. I'm just curious if there's any chance I wouldn't have gotten demolished in the ass. No, probably not. It looks like both the guys behind me saw what was coming, but it looks like the white car, he just stayed sendies. Let's check it out. Oops. Let's go to this guy's cockpit and see. That's we'll get there. So brake lights, yeah, he hasn't started braking yet. So I don't know. I think maybe that would have done it anyway. So I think, but you know, you never know. Either way, I wanted to see if there was a lesson to be taken, and it looks like there was. So it was still a great race. Had a ton of fun. I think that was the best 2 or 3 laps I've ever done at Nord. So thanks for riding along.